Kia ora tātou, and welcome back to the Wargaming Den. It's been a while, but I have a game of Kings of War for you this week. I've just, in the last couple of weeks, been painting up an Abyssal Dwarfs army, and it is going to be taking on Gordon's Twilight Kin. As usual, we're playing 2,300 points. The mission is Seek and Destroy. Have a look at my army list. I made a very last minute change when I decided to throw in a horde of black skulls with the hammer of measured force. They've also got the throwing dogs. Originally I was going to take a regiment of immortal guards, but as I said, last minute change, decided to try out the black souls. Decimator horde. This has got range 14, piercing 1, shooting. So a potential there, if they can get in range, of doing some damage. 2 Abyssal half-breed regiments. This is the whole point of actually got this army. I decided I wanted to paint up some bull centaurs. They're called half-breeds in Kings of War, but we all know what they are. Found some nice 3D prints, printed those off, and I'd picked up some Abyssal Dwarf, cast dwarf 3D prints from a friend a couple of years back, so threw them together, added a few Lord of the Rings wargs as massive packs, and I've got the basis of an army. And so yeah, the Abyssal half-breeds are kind of a centerpiece of the army and the whole reason I'm taking it. 2 Abyssal grotesque hordes. I've ordered some demons for those. I kind of want a demonic theme to this army, so they're still on their way. In the meantime, I'm just substituting in a couple of hordes of minotaurs that I use for my siege breakers, my ogre list, and they're on bigger bases, saboted just so that I can try out this army. An Ironcaster with Fireball 12, and it's got the equivalent of Vicious on that. 2 half-breed champions. One's got the Mournful Blade, the other's the Blade of Slashing. One's good for hunting characters, if I can remember. And the Blade of Slashing's probably the best value item in the game. And an Ironcaster on Winged Half-breed with a Diadem of Dragonkind. So he's got Fireball 18 and also can then cast a Heal 4. Again, this is kind of one of the reasons to do this list, and rather than doing a traditional type monster, I've decided to use a 3D printed from Avatars of War equivalent of a Bloodletter Demon Prince kind of character, which is pretty cool. You'll notice that my army is not Mantic. I despise the drive to GWOIs and you must use Mantic or have it highly encouraged ram down people's throats. It's wargaming, dudes. Use whatever figures you like, and that's the way I've gone. And so I've got a definite tendency to avoid Mantic miniatures now whenever possible. Quite frankly, I think most of their miniature ranges are shit. Not impressed with the new ogres. The Twilight Kin, Gordon's done a great job on them, but I hate the figures. Would never paint figures myself. I paint figures that I like first and foremost, and nothing I really see in that Mantic produces inspires me, or actually quite often has the aesthetic that I'm looking for in my army. So yeah, garage gamer type player at heart. I'll use whatever figures I like, and no one's going to be coming around knocking on my door demanding that I stop. So you will see on my reports fewer and fewer Mantic style figures unless they really lift their game and produce good quality miniatures. But there's such brilliant 3D prints out there, I don't see why I'd bother. But anyway, that's enough waffling and rant. Let's look at Gordon's army. Right, let's have a look at Gordon's list. He's been using his Twilight Kin very successfully against my Orc army of late, and I think my Orcs have had 1 win in 9 games or something ridiculous. But there've been some close games, there've been some annihilations, but this list he's been running for a wee while now. So he's got the 2 Corsair Fleet Warden hordes. I think they may have phalanx. 2 Bound Butcher hordes. They've always been a good centre piece to his army. 2 Impaler hordes. One's with a Scrying Gem, so I deploy a few more units. They've got a front armor of 6, I think, so they're kind of similar to Siege Breakers. Hit them in the flanks though, they're easier to roll up, and I think they've got Crushing Strength of 1. A Bound Mind Screech with Lightning Bolt, Mind Fog and Wind Blast. Void Captain, 2 Summoner Crones with weakness, and I think they cause damage with their weakness. And he's been using it quite effectively against my units the last few games. Maybe I do have to consider a Trickster's Wand or a Hexcaster or something. Soulbane on Nightmare with the Trickster's Wand. See, there it goes. A bonded Void Lurker with the Mead of Madness, so it's a bit faster. Gordon's just rebased his army in the last week or so using resin bases he's made, which have got glitter in it. So it kind of gives this really astral plane void kind of vibe to them. It looks really, really cool. You'll see them shortly. But let's move on, have a look at the table and deployment. So the mission we rolled up is one of the new ones in the latest update of the rules. Seek and Destroy, I think it's called. It's kind of like loot, maybe, except you can only destroy tokens that you've taken off the opponent or something like that. And we put 7 tokens down on the table before the game begins, and they're loot counted so they can be moved around with units. So we ended up putting most of them across the front there, 5. There's one sitting underneath my Dominators, and there must be another one underneath one of Gordon's units over here, but I can't quite remember which one. When it came to deployment, my thoughts were deploy from the buildings onwards. I really like this new map of Gordon's, by the way. It really pops on in the photos. It looks fantastic. But yeah, back to what I'm trying to do. I thought I'd go for these 4 across here. I've got 1 is 5, so if I can kind of grab those 3 and the one underneath me there, then potentially I would win. The grotesques are good and bad going. They've got lots of special rules. In fact, one of the biggest things with this army is there are so many special rules on the various units compared to the orcs. It's going to be a bit of a nightmare trying to remember everything. It'll take me a while. Yeah, just maybe get the half-breeds up here, dominate from here. Made a few technical mistakes in my deployment, which is not surprising. Put the mastiffs at the back, which is sensible because you assume from a historic point of view that you want your screen out in front, but actually they just get shot off, so you pop them out on turn 1 or 2 as needed. They've got throwing dogs. After facing Gordon's dwarves, I decided I wanted some throwing dogs to throw back at him, so I've actually got 3 units. The Black Souls and the Mastiffs can all throw dogs at the dastardly Twilight Kin. Just want to move the decimators, forward to get in range and just hold this kind of area, and then maybe swing around with my cavalry wing, and the big flying chicken is going to, my demon prince is going to use Fireball 18 as much as he can. We'll see how that works. Gordon, he always keeps his butchers together. They make a very effective assault force for him. He's got the Impalers in the center with his defense 6, and then he's got the new units. He's painted up the Fleet Wardens over here. As you can see though, those bases that he's just completed look fantastic on this style of gaming table map. Looks really, really cool. Anyway, on to the game. Gordon took the first turn and just advanced everything. There's the crone there with the butchers, impalers, mind screech in behind. He and the, what are they? The something wardens advanced as well. He cast a couple of spells. He cast weakness on the decimators, and that was because he doesn't like my 25 shots at piercing 1, and he also did 1 point of damage on them as well with the weakness. So not a great deal of activity on turn 1. Okay, here you can see another deployment issue of mine. I don't know why I put the half-breeds in the front and the grotesques at the back. Should have been the other way around potentially. Gordon actually moved his hero character way round here. And so I moved both of my half-breed champs over. He's just put the base here because the figure is too big. My half-breed champion has charged into his Soul Bane. My thoughts being to protect the flank of the grotesques. But he's height 4, I'm height 3, so he can do the old 90 degrees shuffle. And in his turn, using Nimble, go 90 and charge into the flank. So I didn't actually protect that anywhere near as well as I had thought I had. He should have come in here to block that possibility, but even then he could have possibly, would have been able to do it that way. So that was a bit of an issue for me. Move the Mastiffs forward. These yellow markers show that they've got the throwing dogs still, and the guys, the Black Souls with the Hammer of Measured Force, just went up to the edge of the forest. I want to secure my flank there. The Decimators didn't go forward too far because they actually would have moved away from that token, so they stayed back a bit. Now this is where my big mistake came in. I thought, I've got 18 fireball. Let's get in fireball range of this crone and blast it off the table. That'll be awesome. Which is what I tried to do, and I think I did 4 wounds on it. And it may be wavered by that token, potentially. Also cast heal and got rid of the wound on those guys. But what it meant is, I didn't measure any of this, is that both these units of Impalers are in charge range of the winged half-breed. Both of them are about to charge it, and it, spoiler alert, it doesn't end well for the half-breed. So what could I have done? What should I have done? What would a sensible person have done? Quite simply, moved the Mastiffs forward, tucked him in behind them. He could have still cast his fireball over there. They're height 1, he's height 6. No worries there. Maybe not have been in range on turn 1, but never mind. But he could have been, and should have been, this is a lesson to everybody out there, should have been tucked in behind these guys so that they act as a screen. That means any incoming charge hits them, doesn't hit my 320 point very expensive centerpiece model that I've just painted up and looks awesome. And he fireballed once in this game before he was taken out very, very quickly. So that was a serious mistake that Gordon spotted immediately and had no hesitation on capitalizing in his turn 2. So let's have a look at his turn 2 and see how it unfolds. Okay, and here we go. So both those impalers, that's 36 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s. So the half-breed, winged half-breed, overseer and winged half-breed guy doesn't survive that. Charged the Void Lurker in to the half-breed cavalry up here to stop them flank charging. Charge through the woods into the grotesques here with his fleet wardens, whatever they are. The Soulbane that I'd done maybe 4 wounds on, he did the nimble pivot, 90 degrees, charged and hit these guys in the flank. So that's 14 attacks from him. So he could have survived. I think my grotesque would have been okay against him, would have been okay against them, but combined they're in serious trouble now. And the other fleet wardens charged through the terrain to attack the half-breed champion there. So turn 2, Gordon is getting well and truly stuck in. Okay, we've got a splat here. The half-breed cavalry are destroyed. The Void Lurker's turned. He's made sure that my grotesques are in his front. These guys, the only possible charge is going to be directly forward at them. These guys are, the Mastiffs are in the way, so they're unlikely to get through. They want to shoot anyway. And 12 wounds on the Grotesque, so they survived, but the half-breeds didn't. And they got a choice to attack him or attack them. We've got a half-breed champ can get into the flank there. 6 wounds on the other half-breed champ. But these fleet wardens have probably got a nerve of 21, 23 or something like that. So they're going to, and they've got phalanx, so not ideal hitting them from the front. I need to hit them from the flanks here. So things are looking a wee bit dicey as we get into my turn 2. So what do I do? These guys decide to pivot and could just fit past the Mastiffs into here. They then have 50 attacks maybe with the Hammer of Measured Force. Hitting on 5s because they've come through the terrain. So maybe 12 hits roughly. Maybe 6 wounds, but I did less than that actually. I might have only done 3 or 4, which was far from ideal because as you can see, I'm in their flank, but because I didn't destroy them, wasn't able to then pivot to face. I've got 2 hordes of butchers staring at the rear of my black souls, which is far from ideal. I think the Mastiffs fired their throwing dogs and did a couple of wounds on the butchers over here. These guys were wavered by the lightning bolt, and so that kind of trapped the decimators. Decimators didn't have any targets but couldn't go forward either. So that's pretty standard practice against chaff screens, is hit them with something that's just going to chip them for a couple of points of damage, but they're low nerve, so they're easily wavered, and that's gummed them up. So the half-breeds have gone into the front of the impalers with their charge and everything. They're not too bad. I think it looks like they did maybe 6 wounds coming down off the hill, but again, not enough, and this just couldn't fit on the hill quite properly, so just on a bit of an angle, and it does mean that they're locked in combat there, and they're not a unit with defense 4 that's going to do very well in a battle of attrition. Did 10 wounds though on the Void Lurker with my grotesques, which was very nice, but haven't wavered it or anything. And actually, I think what that means is that Gordon, we checked that Gordon can just clip the corner here. His 45-degree line of sight because his height 6, so he can definitely see over the grotesque. He can see this flank. So I think what may happen is he may do a 90-degree pivot because he's a square base and hit these guys in the flank. I think that's what's likely to happen. Back here, they did some blood hex thing. I took 2 wounds off, and did I not even attack them? That doesn't seem feasible. And we did attack over here, did a few wounds, but nothing really to write home about. So really did need to kill these impalers, but failed, and probably looking at the odds, it probably wasn't guaranteed anyway, or near even likely. It was probably a bit of a hopeful Hail Mary type assault because I didn't have any characters to lend them a hand and give them extra support. I was hoping that 50 dice was going to be enough, but it wasn't. So let's have a look at what Gordon does to respond on his turn 3. Now this is funny. There go my soul. What are they called? Soul. Black souls. See my bases? Really like those. Kind of did a toxic, sludgy kind of ash plain effect for where my Abyssal Dwarfs come from. But attacked in the front here, it's 18 dice. 18 times 6 back here, I think it's 108 dice from the butchers at a crush 2. This lot are hindered, so that gives me a little bit of hope, but these guys aren't, and he's not. So one of the coolest rules in Kings of War, it's the most awesome, but at the same time the most frustrating, depending on which side of the dice roll you are, is the double one. So on a double one, a unit, doesn't matter how damaged they are, they pass the nerve test and can fight at normal capacity unless they've taken more damage than their nerve. These guys definitely took more damage than their nerve. So I said to Gordon, it's 108 attacks coming in. Anything but a double one and we won't have to roll out the combat. He said, yep, fine. Gordon rolls a double one. So it's like, oh, now we've got to figure out how much damage by dwarves actually take. So we rolled a couple of the units. We got up to 24, which was me decimated. I've got no healing because the overseer got absolutely smashed last turn. And then there was going to be at least 36, so we just actually ended up putting the dice beside it. So I'm devastated, surrounded, massive damage, but I'm fighting its full strength. So I've got one more turn left in me, which is good. So in my turn, I'm going to turn 180 degrees. I'm going to smash these guys because I can get the mastiffs charging them into the flank as well. So not ideal, but yeah, and there's a double one there. The double one is one of the best mechanisms in the game, purely because it just adds that element of chance that the game is not too predictable. You need that element of unpredictability. That's what makes it such a fun game. And it's a groan if it happens to you, but they're actually the things that you remember after the games. Do you remember that time you hit me with 108 dice and I just shrugged it off? Those are the cool moments in the game. So yeah, I would hate to see them do anything to get rid of the double one mechanism. Okay, and a bit of a wider overview. Looks like Gordon's killed one of the half-breed champions. The other one's being engaged by the Fleet Wardens. The Fleet Wardens here have destroyed those grotesques. The Impalers and the Void Lurker have destroyed the other half-breed unit. So I've lost both of the cool units that were the whole point of me painting up this army, which is a tad unfortunate. I have also lost, sorry, the dogs are wavered, the mastiffs. They've been weakened again and take another wound. And yes, the infamous double one incident over there. So my right flank is just collapsing all around me. My left flank is collapsing and we are a bit stuck in the center because we've got wavered mastiffs that we can't get out of the way of yet again. So it's a bit unfortunate heading into my turn. And just to prove that it's not all one-way traffic and that I'm not totally incompetent, I managed to kill a couple of units. So the dwarves attacked the impalers. Because I've got the hammer of message force, I'm always wounding on a 4+, so that's the best chance to open the impalers with my magical can openers. So destroyed them, then turned to face the butchers. They were still wavered. Now this guy here, he actually abandoned ship. So rather than carry on taking on these fleet wardens, he was able to do the individual pivot thing, face this way, and then he was able to dart around there and then help hit the Void Lurker with the grotesques. So together they destroyed the Void Lurker, and then the hero, in a brave sacrifice, he advanced and rolled a 6, so went 6 inches and ended up directly in front of these guys, hopefully preventing them from charging these guys, or more importantly into the flank of the grotesques. The grotesques are lined up at an angle so they're actually in the front of those fleet wardens there. And little fireball dude, I think he was trying to pew pew over this way. Not sure. Don't think he managed to do anything useful really, but I'm running out of units very quickly. I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 12. So we're only on 2 and 3. So it's been a bloodbath from the Abyssal Dwarfs point of view. But as I said, I've killed a couple of things so far. And I'm now just trying to kill stuff before I die. See if I can get a couple more units before the end. Okay, Gordon's turn 4. Now, if you're expecting a close game, people, prepare to be disappointed because this is an absolute slaughter. The grotesques were on 10 wounds already, so the fleet wardens just charged and destroyed them. What else died? We didn't roll it. He didn't double one this time. Spoiler alert. And the Black Souls departed for the Abyssal Dwarf version of Hades or Valhalla, and that left. Oh, and the half-breed champion also died, which left me with 3 units out of the 12 I started with. The fireball casting overseer, the dogs with 7 wounds on them now, but Gordon must have rolled a 3, maybe, or less. I don't think they are wounded. He's weakened my decimators again though, which is rather annoying. So the trap has well and truly been sprung. I'm surrounded and we are definitely making our last stand. See if I can get a unit or 2 before it all ends in defeat. Not much I could do in response. Did they have throwing dogs left? They may have, but the decimators fired at them anyway, just because they're front armor 6 and I've been weakened again. Thank you, Mr. Crone, wherever you are. Where's that Crone? Ah, there is no Crone. Huzzah! I managed to fireball the ass off that Crone. No unit strength, but a definite moral victory to the Overseer. My Abyssal Dwarf magic is stronger than your Twilight Void nastiness. Take that, you fiend. And he dies. And yeah, I think I just tried to kill some butchers and they may be wavered. Yes, they're on 11 wounds. So it's all under control. We've got plenty of time to work our way out of this, or we're just going to get crushed before the end of the game. Probably the latter is more likely. Now finish this sentence. You know you're having a bad day when. Yes, indeed. Flank charge. Nice bases, Gordon, from the Fleet Wardens. They were just in charge range. Again, I didn't check it. I got fixated on trying to shoot at these guys. But I think if in my previous turn, tactical lesson coming up, people, if I had sidestepped 2 inches, it wouldn't have made a great deal of difference, but it probably would have meant that my decimators were out of charge range of these guys, so they weren't going to take 50 dice or whatever it is in the flank as well as the 18 in the front. So that's something that I should have considered and done rather than just going, oh bugger, I'll just shoot him. I should have moved across and then shot him. Yeah, so charge comes in here, they die, and the mastiffs also die, which leaves me with my turn with my Overseer to take out the entire Twilight Kin army. Not likely to happen. Now, a couple of reasons why I decided to take the Overcaster. One, viable 12. Two, it inspires. The Hex Caster looks pretty good unit because it does damage with its weakness and its Hex, but doesn't inspire, so decided to go with this guy. And the thought being that turn 4, 5, and 6, he can use his fireball to snipe badly damaged units, and that's exactly what he did to those butchers. Fired his fireball, blew the butchers up, then shrugged and stomped off the battlefield, and the Abyssal Dwarfs called it a day. So well and truly smashed in their first outing, really. But it was fun and I really enjoyed the army. Let's go back and have a look at where things went wrong. Okay, it's not often that I can pinpoint exactly the move that cost me the game, but I think that this move here, well and truly with the Overcaster and Winged Half-Breed, is where it all went horribly wrong. As I said earlier, I should have tucked him in behind a screen of Mastiffs. I pushed him forward further than I intended because I wanted to get in fireball range of this guy as opposed to the Impalers, because they're defense 6. I've got no piercing. I do have shattering, but by pushing him forward here, it enabled that double charge, and Gordon seized that opportunity and just charged with everything he could. This guy was also set up nicely on the flank. I had to try and deal with him, but underestimated his ability to get round and into that flank there. That didn't help my cause. But yeah, the bloodletter needed, sorry, the bloodletter, wrong game, people. Shh, don't tell anyone. Needed to be in behind the screen, and he would have been much safer there. But yeah, great game. First time out. I've painted all this army over the last fortnight, except for these 2 units here. And yeah, as I said, I'm just waiting for some 3D printed miniatures of demons that I'm going to be using for my grotesques. But otherwise, it has yeah, been a bit of a marathon mission over the last couple of weeks to get these guys up and painted. I'm really happy with the basing, and really, I haven't got a close-up, but really happy with the way that the half-breeds especially turned out, and they, as I said, are the centerpiece of the army, really. But well played, Gordon. You yeah, took that opportunity and then didn't let up and put me under all kinds of pressure. But I think the core of the army, really happy with. Actually, the Black Souls were a last minute inclusion. I was going to take just a regiment of Immortal Guard, and I'm still keen to try that. But actually, I think that this Horde with Hammer of Measured Force has got some potential. So keen to experiment with that a bit more. I've used the Mastiff hunting packs because I wanted the throwing dogs, but also because I haven't got any gargoyles. They've just turned up yesterday, actually, so I'll have a couple of units painted up for the next game. But as you could see, Gordon knows exactly how to nullify chaff units, just waver them in the units before, like here, these guys here get a bit bottled up, and it becomes a bit of a dilemma. And that's my issue with the gargoyles. Yes, they're the best chaff in the game. They fly, have a movement of 10, but they've got really low nerve. They've got a nerve of 8, 10, I think it is. So they're really susceptible to plink damage and lightning bolts and stuff. So have to use them very, very carefully. So not sure which way to go, the throwing dogs or the gargoyles. I'm going to experiment with both units. But the core units I'm happy with being the half-breeds and the grotesques. Got this idea from watching Andy 2D6's tournament reports with his Abyssal army while I've been painting these guys up. And this guy is also useful. I'm also, though, painting up another demon that I'm going to use for the Hellfane. Not sure which of the two. They perform a slightly different role, but yeah, quite a few options of things to play around with, but really happy with the core of the Force, as I said, and look forward to another game soon. So if you made it this far, appreciate you for watching. Until next time, ka kite anō. Take care.